Floodwaters turned Boulder Creek into a raging river. Homes, bridges, and asphalt were swept away as the rolling water overflowed its banks, assaulting everything in its path. The recipe for this natural disaster? More rain over a 48-hour period than Colorado sees in a year. Boulder residents were caught off guard.
I guess I believed that those kinds of floods could happen, but it was just overwhelming to think about it.
But the flood didn't surprise scientists like Matt Kelsch, a hydrometeorologist at the University Corporation for Atmospheric Research.
We knew it was coming in the sense that this area floods. That's part of the natural, progression, and it's a challenge to figure out how often a flood of this magnitude comes.
Melinda Miller-Huey, Director of Media Relations and News at CU, says university officials have been preparing for floods.
Flood planning we know that we're in the floodplain, and we have always known that this was a risk.
People have been calling it a 1,000-year rain and a 100-year flood. So was this the big one they were waiting for?
The silver lining on this memorial represents the various flood year intervals. Now, what we experienced recently here in Boulder was a flood water level of right about this pedestal, so right around the 50-year mark. If it were a 100-year flood, then the water level of the Boulder Creek would have been up to here.
It was not a worst case for Boulder. If that storm that hit us had been 10 miles further west, we probably would have lost this whole park and this pavement right here and so forth. That would have been considerably worse. That is what they experienced in St. Vrain and Big Thompson.
The Big Thompson Canyon flood of 1976 was Boulder's wake-up call. But many people have wondered if the Great Flood of 2013 was the result of climate change.
Climate change plays some role in that there's more moisture in the atmosphere, so when it does rain, it could rain harder.
Curious Boulderites are still drawn to the creek, now perhaps with a newfound respect. So while this wasn't the big one, there are still those left wondering if climate change will contribute to more frequent flooding like this one. I'm Carrie Gill with News Team Boulder.